Hello guys, how are you? I hope you are fine. Today we are going to discuss a very important, lengthy, interesting, but um, you know, a lengthy topic. Let's. It's not that much difficult, but it's a bit lengthy. We have got much to say. Even I've cut short many of the stuff like this topic, though we could have discussed many more about it. But still, anyhow, let me introduce you to this concept: stress in English. Okay, stress in words, stress in sentence. First we'll discuss stress in words. Usually we start with the definition, though sometimes the definition is very elusive and it's really difficult to capture what is there. But just for the sake of understanding and a kickstart, let's have some definitions. The first definition would be the degree of force with which a certain syllable is uttered or pronounced or articulated. So this would be the force, okay, with which we utter a certain syllable within a word. Another definition would be that a syllable is said to be stressed if it stands out from its background. So the background, the unstressed syllables would serve as a background, and one syllable is highlighted. Okay, it is made more prominent. Okay, it stands out. So it's kind of like you might have watched many movies and specifically songs where there is the main character who performs on the stage, and they wear some different kind of dress so that they could stand out. Okay, and they also they place themselves in somewhere in the middle. So that's kind of in the rest of the guys, the rest of the roles played by the rest of those dancers, they just served as the background. So a stressed syllable is made more prominent in the speech. Okay, and the rest, as far as speech is concerned, keep this in mind that stress is a very important feature, and without stress, if you do not stress some certain syllables or words in your speech, so your speech would be just like a robot is talking, a machine is talking, and it's not alive. Okay, look at my speech, for example, I'm talking to you, so it seems like someone who is alive is talking to you. So please, this is also one of the problems faced by foreign learners, and specifically Pakistani learners in this case, that we do not stress. We do not stress. We do not give due stress to important words, and sometimes we place on incorrect word the stress, and this is it sounds weird to native speakers, and it's really awkward too. So if you really want to be native, if you want to speak like native speakers, you need to besides other things, you need to also learn how and when to stress, okay, in certain words in your speech. So this is a stressed syllable is made more prominent than other syllables in the same word. That's why it is also known as accented. Okay, it means that the syllable is accented. Okay, we are going to move to the examples very shortly. Keep the definitions in mind. A stressed syllable is usually louder, lengthier, more prominent, and with greater force and effort. Okay, that's the point. Okay, I said what? Greater in a sense, or greater. So I made the wrong syllable stress, and that was not very much fine. Okay, the word greater has got two syllables, and the first must be stressed. Okay, let's move on to the examples. We have got examples there too, but before moving to certain recognition, we need to have some examples. Look at the sentence. I could hardly believe my eyes. I could hardly believe my eyes. So look at this sentence. It has got some 3 and 3 6 words, okay, with variation of like different length. We do have two syllables, hard and leave, which are actually stress syllables, okay. So the stress falls on these two syllables in the sentence. We stress them, we make them actually prominent, okay. And that's why, why? Because they are important, okay. Keep this in mind, that actually we stress those words which carry some meaning, which has which have some content meaning, okay, which have the bulk of meaning, okay, in a sentence, okay. So we actually emphasize that word, okay. Look at the rest of the examples and you would find that actually if we have stress syllables, like for example in the word chapter. So look at the first syllable, it has got two syllables. The first syllable is made prominent here, but on the other hand we have got another word, admire. So it is actually the second syllable which is stressed. So it means that sometimes we stress the one syllable and sometimes the another, okay. Here in this case we have stressed the first syllable in the word chapter and the second syllable in the word admire, okay. And keep also your eyes on the unstressed syllables, that they have got what, schwa. So schwa is a weak sound, weak vowel, and that's why it is never stressed in English, okay. We'll repeat it again when we move to the next slides, okay. So, and you have seen here that we have got what, we have got here this diacritic or this sign, okay, this vertical bar or line, okay, which we place before the stressed syllable. Here in this case you have seen here this one, and this dot actually shows the syllabic division, that actually a syllable ends here and another syllable begins, okay. Look at this word sister. So here again the first syllable is stressed and the second is not stressed, okay, it remains unstressed. Surprise, surprise. So look at here, it's again the second syllable is stressed here, okay. And argue, so the first one is stressed, okay, though it's just a noun, it's just a vowel. And then we move on to the last example word, conclude. Look at this word, conclude. The second syllable is stressed. So in these pairs, these three pairs, on the left side, chapter, sister, and argue, the first syllables are stressed, and opposite to them, we have got example words where actually the second syllable is, or the final syllables are stressed, okay. So this is what you have to keep this in mind, okay, that we stress some syllables, okay. If we put the wrong syllable, what happens? Look at here, and this is also a problem here. For example, if I say, suppose chapter, in a sense in Pashto we do that, okay. Instead of like saying in the word, for example, teacher. So the first syllable is stressed, but usually we have heard many people say like that, teacher. So it's kind of like stressing both of the syllables or stressing the last one. So that's really, it does not sound well. And likewise, sister, okay, or brother. So it's it's not like that, okay. You have to keep this in mind, that we have got a fixed stress here in this sense, okay. Each word has got a syllable which has to be stressed and not the other, okay. Move on to the second slide, okay. Here it's number 3rd, fine, okay. Stress recognition, how to actually determine or how to know that a syllable is stressed. like how to know stressed syllables? This would be a good question. So stressed syllables have certain prominent features which help us actually distinguish them from the unstressed syllables. Okay, so we have got two ways, two approaches. Keep this in mind. Two different views. Okay, one is production, and another is perception. Production is from the perspective of the speaker. Okay, from the speaker's point of view. Okay, and perception would be from the listener's point of view. Okay, so production, like for example, if you are the speaker, so what happens, what do? You actually apply more muscular energy and effort. Okay, though it's really difficult to measure like how much energy you exert or you put. Okay, but anyhow, you actually, when you stress a certain syllable, you use more pulmonic energy. Okay, fine. So and but that's a really difficult, of course, for even for the speaker. But if you are analytic and if you are sensitive, you would try to to capture this idea. From listener's perspective, it's quite easier. Okay, how? A stressed syllable is actually louder, longer, and the pitch movement takes place on that very syllable, and it has got a certain vowel quality. The vowel in stressed syllable must be long, or it's a diphthong. Okay, most often. So we have got what? We have got some some 4 features, okay, which help us. These 4 features actually combined to make a certain syllable more prominent. Okay, so sometimes even one feature is sufficient. Okay, loudness is one quality, length is another quality. Stressed syllables are louder, stressed syllables are longer than unstressed syllables. Okay, and it has stressed syllables have got one more feature, and that's pitch. What's frequency? Frequency is actually the number of vibrations, okay, per time, per second, the vocal cords. Okay, I'm talking about vibrations, so that's actually vocal cord. Okay, so when we say the frequency of a certain sound or speech, so we mean to say the number of vibrations when actually the vocal cords tap each other, okay, per second. That's actually frequency. Okay, fine. What is pitch? Pitch is actually, when we speak, we do not speak with a static fixed kind of like pitch. We we change or vary the pitch. Okay, what happens? Like we are not machines. I've already talked about it. Okay, so the pitch can be high or low. Okay, during our speech. Okay, so what happens that actually the pitch remains the same, but when we reach to the stressed syllable, the syllable which is supposed to be stressed, so what happens that if the pitch is low, so on stressed syllable it becomes high, and if previously if the pitch has been low, okay, so it becomes high. Did I repeat the point or not? I'm not sure. But if it is high, it becomes low. If it were high, it becomes low. So this is a kind of like the pitch movement, okay, which takes place on stressed syllable. Okay, this is what you have to remember. Okay, and then we have the 4th quality, okay, and that's called the vowel quality. Actually, stressed syllables have got long vowels or diphthongs. Okay, getting? That's the point. Okay, now we perceive from the point of view of perception, we could perceive stressed syllables that they are made prominent than the unstressed syllables in the in the neighborhood. Okay, but these are the four features, and even one is sufficient if we have got just loudness. So only loudness could also make a certain syllable more prominent. Okay. One more point, keep this in mind. You know the structure of the syllable. A syllable must have, one nucleus, which is vowel, and it has got onset and coda. Onset is actually the consonant or consonants occurring before the nucleus. Okay, and likewise we have got coda, which is actually a consonant or a consonant cluster occurring after the nucleus. So that's the basic structure. What happens is that it's the vowel, the nucleus, which receives the stress. It means that stress falls on the nucleus. Okay, the stress falls on what? Nucleus, the center of the syllable. Okay, we do not stress consonants. Okay, why? Because vowels are more sonorous. Okay, we have got a sonority level of the consonants and vowels comparatively, and we see that it's quite easy. That's why when you call even in Pashto somebody's name, like for example Asad, okay, so what happens is that when we call them from a certain distance, what happens, we say Asada, a sound in the end. What happens is we add a vowel sound. Why? Because vowels are more sonorous than consonants. Okay, they could travel longer. Okay, they are not hindered by any articulators within mouth cavity. Okay, that they just come up directly from the larynx, and in mouth cavity nothing happens to them. Okay, it's just we have got just the tongue's positions, and the lips positions, and that's it. Okay, but actually it's not stop. Okay, it's not disturb. Okay, move on to the next slide. What do you have? Okay, phoneticians, linguists have identified sometimes 2, sometimes 3, and sometimes the maximum number would be 4. 4 different degrees or levels of stress. Okay, the first one is called primary or strong or tonic stress. Okay, and it is represented by small vertical line above and before the stress syllable. Okay, just like in the previous example you might have seen here. Okay, like here, this one. Okay, look at the cursor, this one, here, this one, look at here, this one. So above and before the stress syllable. Okay, we put this above and before the stress syllable. Okay, then we have got secondary or weak stress. Okay, even tertiary is also weak stress. So it is represented by small vertical line, but it's not above but rather below and before the stress syllable. Okay, in the next example you will find that. Look at here. Okay, look at here, this one, the first, this syllable occurs before the first syllable, and it is what? It is below this stress syllable and before. Okay, so then we have got tertiary stress. It's represented by a small circle below and before the stress syllable. Sometimes difficult to identify. It's really difficult to identify the tertiary stress. Okay, it's the third one. So, and then we have got syllables which that's the fourth level. That's called zero stress. Okay, no stress. Okay, and that's why we do not have any sign. Okay, unstressed syllables are not represented by any other diacritic, no mark. Okay, no diacritic, no representation. They just remain common. Okay, fine. So this is what we have, the degree of or levels of stress. Okay, and they are illustrated by these symbols. Look at them. Okay, you might have seen here. So what do we have is that we have got 3 words here. Okay, we have indivisibility, and it has got some 7 syllables. Okay, indivisibility. So they've got what? they've got 7 syllables. Okay, let me help you identify stress syllables. Okay, and before that, keep this in mind. Why do we have levels? There is a difference. The primary stress is the strong stress, which is strongest. Okay, then we have got secondary, and then we have got tertiary. So in this word, example word, you will find that actually we have got some 3 different syllables which are stressed. Okay, out of 7 syllables, only 3 syllables are stressed. The first one is stressed. Okay, then we have the third syllable which is stressed, and then we have this where is that? Okay, then we have got the 5th syllable which is stressed. Okay, so the primary stress is basically the 5th syllable. Okay, B, ability, indivisibility. So this is actually the 5th one. Okay, this is stronger than anyone here. Okay, then we have got the first one, the first in. This is also a stress syllable, but it is not that much prominent like the 5th one. Okay, B. So this in is also a stress syllable, but it is not the strong one, but rather the secondary. Okay, it's not the primary stress, but rather the secondary stress. Okay, then we have got the 3rd syllable, V, and this is the tertiary stress, which we said earlier that it's really difficult to identify. The rest of the syllables like D, okay, Z, L, and T. Okay, the second, okay, and then the 4th one, the 6th one, and the 7th. These syllables are not stressed, and that's why we do not have any mark for them. Okay, just like we've already said that. Okay, look at this, the second example word, possibility. These examples are given to actually tell you how to represent these levels of stress. Okay, so in possibility, what we have is we have got some 5 syllables in this word. Okay, possibility. So the first one is actually a weak one. Okay, we keep this in mind that in the previous word, indivisibility, this we said 3rd syllable is stress, and this is tertiary. Here it is not represented well. Okay, it must be a small circle, okay, within which there must be some hole. It must not be a dot, but rather a circle. Okay, so I just couldn't represent that, and I'm really sorry for that. Note this point. Okay, in possibility, what we have is that the first syllable is stress, but that's secondary stress. The 3rd syllable, the 2nd syllable is not stress. The 3rd syllable is actually primary stress. Okay, tonic stress, strong stress, and then we have got the 2nd, 4th, and 5th syllables that they are not stressed; they remain unstressed. Okay. Look at the 3rd example word, qualification. The same thing. Okay, if we just conclude it, actually it's the last syllable. Okay, cation, which is actually stressed. Okay, stronger than anyone else here. So it has got the primary stress, and the first syllable is also stressed, but that is actually secondary stress. Okay, I hope it's clear. Okay, word stress placement, like where to place the stress within a word. Wow. Let's see. Stress in English, unlike other languages, is a highly complex matter. It's really difficult to predict. Okay, make this correction, please. It's incorrect. It should have been and difficult to difficult to predict. Okay, or it's difficult and then unpredictable to a large extent. Okay, so instead of to, just consider and. So it's a highly complex phenomenon. Okay, it's in other languages we could have it would be quite easier for us. Like we could say that they've got fixed stress, and usually the first syllable is stressed, just like in the in Czech, it is the first syllable that is stressed. In Polish, it's actually penultimate syllable, the second last syllable, which is usually stressed in that language. In French, generally the last syllable is stressed, okay, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Turkish it is also the last syllable which is stressed. Just check it out, okay, on internet or some other sources. Okay, stress in English is mostly not static but mobile. Keep this in mind. What does it mean? It means that actually sometimes we put stress on the first syllable, sometimes second, third, fourth, fifth, last, blah blah. So this is a kind of like, there is a great variation, okay. It's not like quite simple, just like in the other three languages which I've mentioned here. So this is what you have to remember, okay. It's movable, it does not have its fixed place, okay. Like it's not like that the first syllable in every English word will be stressed. It's not like, or the last one or the middle one somewhere. It's not like that. Stress English is the individual property of the word. This is a really important statement, okay, out of many, but this is really important one, and you have to understand it. Just like you learn the spellings, just like you learn the meanings of the words, okay, each and every word, okay, likewise you should also learn the stress. It means that when you have learned a word, its spelling, then you should also learn its stress, okay. Like each word has got its own stress, okay. So there is not a hard and fast rule or some sort of formula with the help of which, just like in other grammatical structures in grammar, we say that, just do that and this, and put the third form and the second form and blah blah. So we do not have easier like rules here, okay. That's why it's just like you have to memorize, okay, stress, okay. You have to memorize stress for almost every word. Yeah, I'm sure there are some rules which will help you, okay, a lot, but with a lot of exceptions, and you'll see that that's not a big deal, okay. But most of the time in English, you have to learn the stress along the line, okay. Okay, so move on to the next slide. We have got examples. Quality is a word where actually the stress falls on the first syllable, okay. Look at these examples here. The next word is polite, so it's actually the second or the last syllable which is stressed, okay. Then we have got another word, politician, where actually it's the third syllable, okay, which is stressed. And then we have got responsibility, where actually the fourth syllable is stressed. Responsibility, B is stressed. And then likewise the rest of the examples, chapter and admire, okay. So chapter, sister, argue, the first syllable is stressed, and admire, surprise, and conclude, the second or the last syllable is stressed, okay. We have got some general rules to remember which will help us understand and learn stress in English, like when to stress and when to unstress. It means which words or which syllables must be stressed and which syllables shouldn't be. This is what we are going to learn. Polysyllabic words made of more than one syllable, okay, they are called polysyllabic words. All polysyllabic words are stressed. Words made of more than one syllable are stressed. Keep this in mind. Monosyllabic words are not stressed unless they are nouns, verbs, full verbs, okay, not auxiliary or helping verbs, just full verbs, adjectives and adverbs, okay. So that word classes, okay, these parts of speech, what you call. So in them, like we have got, we classify them into two, okay, lexical category or class, and then we have got grammatical class. For lexical class, Okay, we have got nouns and verbs and adjectives and adverbs. I hope I've already made this distinction clear somewhere in previous lectures in the classroom. And then we have got grammatical class, which includes prepositions and articles and auxiliaries and pronouns, okay, and conjunction, blah blah. So monosyllabic words are usually not stressed, but if they are nouns, verbs, full verbs, adjectives or adverbs, then they are stressed. They must be stressed. In polysyllabic words, the syllable that contains a long vowel or a diphthong, or if it ends with with one or more consonant, okay, with more than one consonant. It means that if a certain word ends with a consonant cluster, then they must be stressed. I'm repeating. There are three conditions or possibilities. The first one is that the syllable must contain a long vowel in a polysyllabic word. Okay, the stressed syllable. The second one is that a stressed syllable has a diphthong. The third possibility is that the stressed syllable ends with consonant cluster, with more than one consonant. Okay, fine. And specifically for disyllabic words made of two syllables. When to unstress all monosyllabic words, grammatical functional words should not be stressed. Okay, mustn't be stressed. We do not stress monosyllabic grammatical words like pronouns and prepositions and conjunctions and articles. Okay, we do not stress them, or auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. We do not stress them. Words or syllables which contain schwa, okay, and schwa sound, the shortest English sound, they are not stressed. Keep this in mind, that schwa is never stressed in English. A syllable which contains schwa is never stressed if it is the first syllable, middle somewhere, or the last syllable. Okay, final one. We do not stress that syllable. Keep this in mind. Okay, it's a very weak, it's the weakest sound, vowel sound. Okay, but there is a note that we have got rules, but the speakers may purposely and deliberately stress any English word, any means any, even grammatical words. Okay, we could stress any word, okay, purely grammatical words, for some special purpose in our speech, okay, which are usually like unstressed, but we could stress any word or any part of the word, any syllable, okay, if you want, okay, for deliberately in our speech. Okay, let's move on to some specific rules. Okay, there are four factors or four features which may help us identify or decide which syllable must be stressed. Okay, first of all, like these, keep this in mind that these four features have been deduced from English lexicon, like we have, just like grammar. Okay, just like grammar, we have analyzed, and then we have come up with some rules. That's how we have also analyzed English lexicon, and we have come up with some rules, that there are four factors, okay, four features. The first one is that we must know the number of syllables in a word. Okay, it will tell us something about syllable. It will tell us something about the stress syllable, like which syllable is stressed and which is not. Okay, which syllable is to be stressed and which is not. This is what you have to remember. Okay, this is the first thing. The second thing is the phonological structure of the syllables. We must know the arrangement of the consonants and vowels which make the syllable. We must know the structure of the syllable. Okay, this is very important. Okay, the third feature uh, would be, we must know the word class or the grammatical category of the word. Okay, like for example, we know that if a word belongs to the word class of noun or verb or adjective or adverb, they are stressed. Okay, if a word is belongs to the class of articles or prepositions or auxiliaries or modal, then they are not stressed. The fourth and the final feature would be the morphological makeup of the word. Okay? We must know the structure of the word from morphology, from the point of view of morphology. We must know the morphemes there, okay, the morphology of the words. So morphologically, words are of three kinds: simple, complex, and compound. Let me explain them right here, okay, so that we could understand. Simple words are like those words which are made of single single word. Okay, we like without affixes. Okay, a word without suffixes or prefixes. Okay, that's what we call simple word. Okay, and then we have, like for example, the word use or use, and then take, and we have got the word one, okay, or unit, or but, or word, okay, or made. Okay, these are all words. Okay, so, and even the word self, simple is also a simple word. Complex words are those words which have either suffixes or prefixes. Okay, so those words which are made which have been aided a prefix or a suffix or both of them. Okay, then they are known as complex words. And the third category would be compound word, where actually what is compound word? Compound words are made of two independent words. Keep this in mind. Okay, like for example, we have got postman. So we have got post and classroom, class and room. So this word classroom is made of two independent words. Okay, this is what you have to remember, and therefore compound words. Okay, let's probe into these four features, and that would be the end of this lecture. Okay, there is nothing else, I hope. Okay, the first thing is the number of syllables in a word. Monosyllabic words are only stressed when they are nouns, verbs, and adjectives. So we must know the number of syllables. Okay, like the first thing is that we must know whether a word is monosyllabic or polysyllabic, whether a word is made of only one syllable or more than one syllable. Okay, if the word is made of one syllable, then we should see that whether it is a noun or a full verb or adjective or adverb. If they are one of them, if a word is made of one syllable and it is a noun or verb or adjective, then it is stressed. We stress them. Okay, getting or not? This is the first thing. Okay, so monosyllabic grammatical words are not stressed, but if a word is made of one syllable and that is a grammatical word, a function word, which means article, okay, preposition, pronoun, then we do not stress them. And the second thing is, that was like a syllable made of one syllable. Now look at those syllables which are made of two or more than two syllables, with what we call technically as polysyllabic words. All polysyllabic words are stressed. Keep this in mind. Okay, every polysyllabic word is stressed, irrespective of the class. Okay, every polysyllabic word is stressed. A word made of two or more than two syllables are stressed. There must be one stressed syllable, whatever, in that word. Okay? Okay, for polysyllabic words, we need to understand the second, third, and the fourth feature. Okay? Then it will be quite easier. Even for monosyllabic words, we should also know the class of the word class. Okay? Noun, verb, and adjective. So these four features are interconnected. Okay? Okay, the second feature is the phonological structure of the word. Now we have to see the phonological structure, not the morphological structure. Phonologically, we can analyze the structure of a word by looking at the structure of the syllables, like what is there, okay, how many syllables are there, and what kind of vowels are there. Okay, if it has got a long vowel, or if a syllable has got a diphthong, or if a syllable ends with consonant cluster, then we are supposed to stress them. Okay, is this fine? The stress, that syllable is stressed. The stress falls on that very syllable which has got a long vowel or a diphthong, or it has got consonant cluster. But keep this in mind that this rule is for those words which are made of two, okay, syllables most of the time. For three, it's a bit difficult. Anyhow, could be extended to include them. Okay, so the examples could be teacher and decide, contact. Look at the first example, teacher. So it has got two syllables, T and A. Okay, schwa is never stressed, so it means the last syllable is not stressed. The first syllable contains a long vowel E, and that's why it must be stressed. This is an example of the first one, okay, a syllable which contains a long vowel. The second word is for a syllable, okay, which contains a diphthong. Okay, so look at this one, decide. So we have got two syllables. The first one is D and the second one is side. And side has got I, which is a diphthong. So this is an example of a word, okay, which has got a syllable which contains a diphthong. So that syllable is stressed. So here in this example, the second or the final syllable is stressed. Why? Because it has got a diphthong. Okay. Look at the third example, contact, which is actually an ideal example for the third possibility. Okay, a syllable that ends with a consonant cluster. So here you could see here that this word, okay, has got two syllables. The first one is con and the second syllable is tact. So tact has got four different phonemes, t, a, k, and then t. So it has got a cluster, k and t. Okay, tact. So this syllable ends with a consonant cluster or two or more than two consonants. Okay, so that's why this syllable must be stressed. Which syllable? The last one, which contains a syllable which contains a cluster in the end. Okay, we have some exceptions, but they are foreign words. That's why I'm just trying to give you this point of view to just like a platoon. And then we've got intellect, okay, intellect and contemplate, excellent, innovate, okay, innovate, and what's the reason? The reason is actually foreign words or alternative dual stress pattern, okay, like controversy and controversy. So we have this issue here. This is sort of like what should I say, exception, like in the word controversy, we have got the first syllable con, which is stressed, and sometimes we may also stress the second syllable tro. Okay, Likewise, we have got innovative, where actually the first syllable is stressed, which shouldn't have been. We were expecting the last syllable, wait. Okay, innovate, wait. Why? Because this last syllable, wait, contains a diphthong. Okay, and the rest of the previous two syllables, in, no, both of them have short vowels, and that's why, even not long vowels. Okay, so we were expecting the last final syllable to be stressed, but actually it's not the case. Okay, and that's why, these are all examples where actually they are exempted from this rule. Okay, move on to the word class. Okay, this would be the third feature which we must know. We must know the word class. Okay, the class of the word that the word belongs to. Okay, for disyllabic homographs, disyllabic means a syllable which is made of a word which is made of two syllables. Okay, that's called disyllabic. Just like monosyllabic, polysyllabic, so disyllabic is also sort of polysyllabic word. Okay, but it has got two syllables. Okay, homographs, like you might have come across words which are similar, but when you use them so the function is different. Sometimes the word functions as a verb, sometimes it functions as a noun, sometimes it is an adjective. Okay, so all those words are differentiated only because of the stress. Keep this in mind in English. Okay, we have got a lot of examples. Okay, like for example, we have got object and object. So this is a pair of homograph, and both of them are disyllabic. Okay, it means that both of these words have got two syllables, and both of them are the same as far as spellings are concerned, but the pronunciation is different. Okay, and why is the pronunciation different? It's because of the stress. And why do we stress one syllable in one word and another syllable in another word? Is because of the word class. Okay, now we'll try to understand this thing. Okay, the homographs that belong to different word class have different stress patterns. If the word class changes, the stress falls on a different syllable. Okay, for example, we have got object. Okay, so this is a word, and the stress falls on the first syllable, ob. Okay, instead of ject. So here it is the first syllable which receives stress. Okay, but when the class is changed, now this is a noun. Okay, object, this is what it is used as a noun. Okay, for example, in a sentence you could use them that this is not my object. Okay, object. Okay, but if you use this word as a verb, for example, in the sentence you could use them as a verb and not as a noun. For example, I object this proposal. You say object. So look at this word, it is used as a verb, and the second syllable is stressed instead of the first, the second one. And look at the variations too. Here in the noun, we have got the first syllable which is stressed, and it has got a long vowel. Okay, not long that sense, but relatively long. It's not a long vowel, but within short vowels, clear vowels, it is lengthier than schwa. This is what my point was. So we have got ob, and in the verb you have got ab. So ab is a syllable which contains schwa, and schwa is never stressed. It means any syllable which has schwa is never stressed. So the first syllable is not stressed, rather it is the second one, and even the second syllable is also changed. How? Here is in noun you have got ject, and in verb you have got ject. Okay, so we have got object, Okay, object, the first syllable is stressed. And in a verb, what do you have? You have got object. Okay, object. So it is the second syllable which is stressed. So as a rule, we could say that the stress falls on the first syllable when it is a noun. Okay, if you have two words having similar spellings, okay, and if the word is a noun, so the first syllable is stressed. If it is a verb, the second syllable is stressed. And the same is rule for adjective, okay, which I'm covering in the next slide. So we have got another example, another pair. As a noun, we say conduct, and as a verb we say conduct. So it is the second syllable which is stressed. So, and then we have got a third pair as an example. As a noun, we say present. Okay, as a verb we say present. So I presented my topic. Okay, I presented my idea. And where is my present? Okay, is a noun. So that's the difference. So look at all those words: object, conduct, and present. And all of them, they are all nouns, and that's why the first syllable is stressed. And look at the counter here example. That's object and conduct and present. So all of them are verbs, and that's why the second syllable is stressed. So we must know the word class. Okay, that's very important here. And all of these words are disyllabic. Okay, we haven't yet discussed polysyllabic words. Okay, the same rule can be applied for adjectives. Look at the examples. We have got what? Perfect, and we have got perfect. So if in this is a pair, okay, having the same spelling, okay, but what's the difference? The difference is that of class. And if the class is different, so we have to be careful to stress the syllable. Why? Because perfect, if this word is an adjective, so just like earlier we made a rule for the nouns, so we could also make another rule for adjectives. When the word is an adjective, the first syllable is stressed. When the word functions as a verb, then the second syllable is stressed. Okay, so look at the examples: perfect, perfect; absent, absent. And then we have got the same example, but there it was a noun and verb. Now it is an adjective and a verb. Okay, again the same pronunciation, the same kind of rule, the first syllable is stressed in adjective and the second in the verb. So we have got what? Present and present. And likewise the last example would be abstract and abstract. Okay, this is last example. The fourth and the last feature would be the morphological structure of the word. The morphological makeup of the words, may also help us determine which syllable receives the stress. Keep this in mind that this is the final feature, okay, which we must consider. Okay, if you have considered all of those previous three features, then you should also think of like the fourth feature. This is the last one, which will tell you where to put stress. Stress placement often depends on whether the word is simple, complex, or compound. So morphologically, we must know whether the word is simple, complex, or compound. Once we have known them, then we could make some rules. How? For simple words, we have been considering all of those words. They were simple actually, without prefixes and suffixes. Okay, I've already explained these terms. Now, for simple words, what happens? For simple words, the rules are the same as previously discussed. Words made of one syllable are stressed when they are nouns, full verbs, or adjectives. Okay, made of one syllable, monosyllabic words. And syllables having schwa are never stressed. Okay, quite simple. Yes, previously we have already discussed them. Simple words, okay, without prefixes and suffixes. All words of more than one syllable are stressed. Polysyllabic, all polysyllabic words are stressed, okay. Words having two or more than two syllables are always stressed in English, okay. So the stress falls on a syllable which contains a long vowel or a diphthong, or on the syllable that ends with more than one consonant. Previously we have discussed the same rules, okay. And you know, the final feature, the final rule could be in pairs of words like homographs having the same spelling, the stress falls on first syllable, okay, when they are used as nouns or adjectives. We have just discussed them. And the stress falls on the second syllable if the word functions as a verb. We have discussed even examples. Okay, those were the rules for simple words. Now move on to complex words. In complex words, the type of affix, okay, used determines the stress placement. You must know, the type of affix, okay. So we have some three different rules here, okay. We have got some suffixes that do not affect stress placement, okay. Keep this in mind that we are discussing complex words. Complex words are words which have been added some affixes, either prefix or suffix, okay. So what happens if you see a complex word, a word where there is a prefix or suffix? So you need to know that we have got three different rules. We have got some suffixes. First we need to discuss suffixes, okay. We have got some suffixes that they do not affect stress placement. How? For example, we have got a word reason, okay. So in the word reason, the first syllable is stressed, okay, and when we added the suffix able, nothing happens, okay. It is again, it remains, the first syllable was stressed without suffix, and it is still the first syllable which is the stressed one, okay, the strong stressed syllable, okay. So nothing happens there. So this able as a suffix does not, okay, change the stress placement, okay. Is this clear? I hope it's clear. Okay, then we have got like for example season, the first syllable is stressed, and seasonable, the first has got stress, okay. Success, successful, nothing happens, okay. And then we have got simple, simplify, so it is the first which is stressed. Motion and motionless, child, okay. This is a monosyllabic word which has got a diphthong I, and it ends also with a consonant cluster O and D. It means that this word is made of one syllable and it ends with two consonants, okay. So we have got two rules here. One thing is that diphthong, there's a diphthong. The second thing is that we have got a cluster and some monosyllabic word. So definitely this must be stressed, and monosyllabic words are stressed if they are nouns. So this is a noun, okay. Now we have got a suffix attached to it, ish. We have got childish. Nothing is changed, everything remains the same. It is actually the first syllable which receives the stress, child, then ish, okay. Okay, meant, achieve and achievement, okay. Play and playing, and smart and smartly, okay. Silk and silky. So these suffixes haven't affected the stress placement. Now another category within within suffixes would be those suffixes which influence stress placement when added to words. How? Like for example, look at the first word Okay, ion is a suffix. Okay, so we have got a word derive. So it is actually the rive, I, which receives the stress. It means it has got two syllables and the second or the final syllable is stressed. But when the suffix was added, okay, so it becomes what? Derivation. Now, in this word derivation, so this shun is actually something which is stressed. Then we have got ic, it is also a suffix which actually changes the stress placement. So we have got trauma, okay, the first syllable is stress, but when this suffix was added to it, so the stress is changed from the first syllable to the second syllable. Okay, so we have got dramatic, mat, so it is the mat which receives the stress. Likewise, we have got possibility, okay, possible and possibility, and we have got commerce and commercial, okay, and then we have got advantage and advantageous. The third category is suffixes that receive the stress themselves. What happens? What does it mean? It means that we have got enter. This is a stem, a word without any prefix or suffix here, and when we added the suffix this ain, what happens? This suffix itself is stressed. Okay, so that's why we have got entertain, entertain. So this, the last syllable is stressed. Okay, so this is a type of suffix which becomes the part of the stress syllable. In other words, we have got e, address, and then we have got addressee, and we have got eer, for example, mountain, okay, mound. Then we have got mountaineer. There is a note in the above, like suffixes that receive the stress themselves. The primary stress in the initial syllable changes into secondary stress. Keep this in mind. Okay, what does it mean? It means that, look at the examples. Enter, okay, enter, so it has got two syllables, n and ter. The first one is stress. Of course, the second one is not stress because it has got schwa sound. Okay, ter, enter, enter. So when the suffix was added to it, and it becomes what? Entertainment. So we still have two syllables, two stress syllables, n in this tain. Okay, so what happens is that actually the tain, the last syllable, is actually a strong stress. Okay, tonic stress. Okay, the highest level. Okay, strong level, and this n becomes what? The secondary stress. Without suffix, it was the primary stress. The first syllable was what? Primary stress. It has got a strong stress, but now it is stress but secondary stress. So now the word becomes different. Okay, it has got three syllables where actually two are stressed, and the final is strong stress, and the first one is weak stress, which means secondary stress. And likewise, we have got addressee, okay, dress, address, address, and then we have got addressee. So the first is also a stress, but it has become the secondary stress. In e, the last one, c, okay, it becomes what? The strong, okay, stress, which means the primary stress. Okay, and likewise we have got mountain, the first mount, and then second tain. So the first is stress when it was suffixed, so the last receives the primary stress and the first becomes a secondary stress. Okay, fine. Okay, for prefix, keep in mind that it's really difficult. Sometimes, some prefixes are um, have got stressed and some do not have. It depends on the type of prefix. Some prefixes are weak and some are strong. Okay, so like for example, you have got a prefix re. Okay, replay. So the stress falls on the prefix as it has got long vowel re. Okay, so here in this word, this prefix re has got the stress, primary stress here. Okay, and there is no secondary stress. There is just one syllable which is stressed, and that's the first pre. It means the prefix itself is stressed. Okay, that's syllable. Then we have got disengage. The primary stress falls on the last syllables of the stem. However, the prefix receives secondary stress. Now, in this example, what happens, just like previously, the gauge, okay, when we say engage, so what happens that, it is actually, the stress falls on the last syllable, okay, gauge, but dis is also a stress syllable, though a secondary one, but it is good stress. Now look at all the rest of the examples. This is a broad and ahead and alone and beneath and below and because and become. In all of these, you will see that actually, all of them have got two syllables, and the first one is the prefix is a weaker one, which is schwa, and b, it is also a weak syllable. Okay, that's why definitely, of course, automatically the second syllables are stressed. Okay, the last one is compound. Okay, compound words made of two or more than two independent words. Okay, so what happens like in such words? We've got different types of rule. Okay, stress placement in compound words often depends on the grammatic class of the words combined. We have to see which words are combined. For example, look at the first category. Okay, we have got book and shelf. Book is a noun, shelf is also a noun. So this compound has got two nouns, noun plus noun. Okay, likewise, type plus writer, noun plus noun. Suit is also noun, case is also noun. Foot is also noun, print is also noun. Post is also noun, man is also noun. So we have got all of these examples made of two nouns. Okay, combination of two nouns. So what is the rule? If the first element means the first part of word, I mean book, okay, type, suit, foot, post. So if the first element in the compound word is a noun, the stress falls on the first element. It means that if we have got a compound made of noun plus noun, okay, both of them are nouns, then what happens? The first noun or the first syllable is stressed. The first element is stressed. Okay, the first part is stressed. So in all of these examples, the first part will be stressed. In bookshelf, it is book which is stressed. Bookshelf. Okay. In typewriter, we have got type which is stressed, and then we have got in suitcase, it is suit which is stressed, not the case. Footprint, it is the foot which is stressed. Postman, it is post which is stressed. Okay, the second rule is that if the first element in the compound word is an adjective, like in the example we have got loud and speaker. Loud is an adjective and speaker is a noun. Now this is a compound noun but made of an adjective and a noun. So that's why the rule would be that actually the second, okay, the noun is stress. Okay, the stress generally falls on what? The second element, with the secondary stress on the first element. It means that if you have got a compound, if you have got a compound noun and it is made of an adjective and a noun, what happens? We have to, or even a verb, we have to stress both of them. But the difference is actually that the second element will be stressed and the stress would be primary, and the first element will be stressed but secondary. Okay, that's why we have got loud and speaker. So we have got two stress syllables. Loud is secondary and speak receives the primary stress. Likewise, bad tempered. So we have got bad, which has got secondary stress. Tempered, it is primary stressed. Okay. Good looking, look is primary stress, and good is secondary stress. And homemade, made is primary stress and homemade stress. This is the rule for this. I hope it is quite clear. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, your attention, and your patience. I'll come up with in the next in the next e-lecture. I'll be discussing strong and weak forms, and then assimilation and elision, and then intonation. Okay, inshallah today. Okay, thank you so much. God bless you.